task-based learning lesson plan with lexical approach in language focus. The target skill of the lesson is speaking. The lesson topic is holidays. The grammar focus is the use of would. The level intermediate and the target age adolescents and adults. For this lesson, we'll need a recording with a dialogue between two people planning a summer holiday, copies of its transcription, flashcards showing different kinds of holidays, and sheets of paper with exercises. The aim of the pre-task is always to introduce the topic and to give the class exposure to language related to it. In this case, the topic of the class is holidays. In order to come across key vocabulary, the teacher will show the students pictures related to holidays, adventures, beach and sun, casino, family fun, history and culture, romance, shopping, skiing, spa, etc. And he will ask them where they would go to spend good vacations and why. Thinking of it from a personal perspective will make the students get involved and find the topic more interesting. Because, as Douglas Brown says, retrieving some Stephen Gresham's concepts, when the topic is interesting to the students, then the affective filter lowers and the input becomes comprehensible and meaningful. On the other hand, David Noonan affirms that all students, but particularly adults, who are the target of our lesson, learn best when the content is personally relevant to past or present concerns. In the process of making students think and talk about holidays, the teacher will elicit a brainstorm of words and phrases onto the board related to the topic, and it's expected to come across with vocabulary such as spend a week, spend money, book a hotel room, pack your luggage, your bags or your suitcases, to travel, to hitchhike, to have fun, etc. This vocabulary will help the students in the process of doing the task, and this way of coming up with it, actively and sensibly, aims to make the activity meaningful to them, since they can relate it to past experiences or to their desired, dreamed holiday. Finally, in this phase, the students will listen to a dialogue between two people planning their summer holidays, which will provide wider input. But in order to raise their level of attention, after listening to it 2 or 3 times, they will be given a transcription of the dialogue with certain gaps they will have to fill.
Where shall we go for our vacation this year, Ted?
How about Florida? It's cheap, we wouldn't spend too much money. And good weather is guaranteed. It's nice to go sunbathing.
I'd rather do something more exciting this year than getting a suntan. Have you seen this ad for adventure holidays in Canada?
I prefer lying on the beach to canoeing, taking photos and buying souvenirs.
But we do that every year. I prefer to do something different this time. I'd rather not go anywhere so crowded.
Well, you have a point. Palm Beach was very crowded last time. I'd prefer somewhere a little quieter too, but I don't fancy anything too active.
How about Crystal Bay? The weather's usually good, and there are some lovely walks to go sightseeing. We could have fun, and there's no risk of getting sunburned.
Sounds okay to me. Would you prefer to stay in a hotel or rent a cottage? Now we move on to the second phase, the task cycle. This phase consists of 3 stages. The first of them is the task. In pairs, the students will be told to make a 1-week vacation schedule, choosing the destination and the activities they believe that would make the best holiday ever. We can consider this activity a listening task, the type of tasks that doesn't seem to be very imaginative or creative, but that tend to generate a lot of talk as learners explain their ideas. Listen tasks involve brainstorming, which was already done collectively at the pre-task phase, and will be probably done again in pairs at the task phase. Brainstorming is the process where learners draw knowledge and experience on their own. Listening tasks also involve fact-finding, in which learners find things out by asking each other or other people, in this case maybe referring to past experiences or what they idealize as the perfect holiday. The teacher will be just a monitor, without interfering. The teacher's function at this point is to observe and encourage from a slight distance. He could occasionally go over a group where Spanish crops up too often and suggest the use of English, or help a group that is hopelessly stuck, but then he is supposed to withdraw again. Once the task is over, the teacher will take up briefly a few points of interest based on what he had heard while monitoring, and comment positively on the way students have done the task. This will reinforce their confidence and will encourage them to move on to the following stage. The following stage is planning. Here, each pair will rehearse the presentation of their schedules and the process they went through to make it. At the task stage, they used spontaneous language that is supposed to be fluent but may be inaccurate. However, at the report stage, they will have to speak in public, and the teacher or mates may take notes out of their speech. So, this is the stage where accuracy becomes important, and the students feel the need to organize clearly what they want to say, use appropriate language, and check that it's correct. The teacher will walk around acting as a language advisor, helping students shape their meanings and express more exactly what they want to say. The following step is report. Here, the teacher will set it clear that while each group is doing its presentation, the rest of the class will have to pay attention and find coincidences and differences with their own schedules. Once every pair has done its presentation, every group will vote for the best holiday schedule. While listening to the presentations, the teacher will take notes of the points that will be useful for the summing up and the language feedback, but will not correct or interrupt during the presentations. It could be discouraging. Once all the presentations are done, the teacher will react to the content of the reports with a brief summing up of them. Then he will provide some feedback, since students usually demand it, writing on the board the correct version of common mistakes. However, public correction needs to be handled very carefully because it could also seriously undermine learners' confidence. The last phase of a TBL lesson is language focus. In this particular lesson, the activities in this final phase have been thought to be implemented according to Michael Lewis' Lexical Approach, but they keep the two stages described by Jane Willis and her TBL method. At the analysis stage, the teacher will tell and ask the students the following. In the dialogue, you can find that '(D) appears several times. Can you count how many? What does it stand for? The students will be led to find out how would and '(D) are used as polywords expressing a modalized utterance, so as not to sound direct or rude. The two questions, can you count how many and what does it stand for, aim to promote observation through identification. This activity will require some linguistic analysis and will draw the students' attention to the structure of typical phrases and sentences. It'll give the learners time to systematize and build on the grammar they know already, to make and test hypotheses about grammar, and to increase their repertoire of useful lexical items. Then they will proceed with the practice stage, which is unlikely to give the learners deeper insights into the meaning and use of grammatical patterns, but they may provide confidence and a sense of security. They will be asked to do the following exercises. Complete the sentences with the phrases provided in the box. I'd like a pizza, please. I'd play one more match. I'd rather live in the country. I'd prefer to go swimming. I'd rather take a nap. I'd say that's the right answer. I'd like to go back home. I think this is the last bus stop. Can you think of more examples? Finally, the students will do 2 activities that can be considered a mixture of analysis and practice, identifying collocations in the dialogue and using them in the following exercises. Match and find these word pairs in the dialogue. Take photos. Buy souvenirs. Spend money. Go sightseeing. Go sunbathing. Get sunburned. Have fun. Get a suntan. Complete the sentences using these pairs of words. I usually buy souvenirs when I'm on holiday because they help me to remember it. I went sightseeing every day on my last holiday because there was so much to see. I took a lot of photos when I went on holiday last time because I had a new camera. I usually spend too much money when I go on holiday because I buy presents for all my family. I like going sunbathing because I enjoy lying on the beach and relaxing. It takes a long time for me to get a suntan because my skin is very pale. I got sunburned last year because I stayed in the sun too long. I had a lot of fun on my last holiday. I went water skiing every day and to the disco every evening, and I made some new friends. The aim of the language focus is to draw the students' attention to form in relation to the meanings they have already become familiar with during the task cycle, and so help them systematize their knowledge and broaden their understanding. The intention is to ensure that they will recognize similar words, phrases, and patterns in the future, so that they can carry on learning outside the classroom and after their course.